Hi folks, my name is Jay and I'm a former professional wrestling editor and producer. I'm back once again to share my perspective on the recent TNA Hard to Kill pay-per-view. Never ever would I have expected for Impact Wrestling to rebrand back to the iconic TNA name when I started uploading these videos last year. Nostalgia for TNA is what brought me back into watching their shows. It happened back then when I heard that Shelley won the world title at Against All Odds 2023. So I guess nostalgia is a powerful thing, and the officials at Anthem and Impact realized this too, because they announced in October of last year that the iconic letters and branding would return. And so far, it paid dividends, as the rebrand pay-per-view Hard to Kill turned out to be one of the most successful ones in recent history. Hard to Kill took place on January 13th, 2024 in Las Vegas, Nevada. Early reports mentioned over 1,500 tickets being sold before admission started, but during the broadcast it was mentioned that this was the highest attended show in 8 years, putting it close to the 2,000 people mark for sure. Additionally, it was also reported that this was the highest gate for TNA since 2014, 10 years. The show was shot in a theater in the Palms Casino and looked generally great on TV. They had a ton of fun little details in the location, making it seem like they put a lot of effort and thought into the presentation. For starters, they brought back yellow ring ropes from the early days, put the new TNA logo on the canvas and placed yellow TNA-branded rally towels around the ringside area. They also brought back a classic look with a singular tunnel on the stage. All in all, I really like the setup they presented us with. Seems like a great menu for professional wrestling shows. They opened the show with a video package narrated by Eric Young that transitioned into him walking on stage and cutting a promo, with the entire roster out there and the fans chanting TNA at the top of their lungs. Hearing the chants echo in that confined space of that theater really gave me goosebumps. An awesome moment. We then kicked the action off with a TNA staple, the Ultimate X match. Everyone goes for the classic SmackDown vs. Raw tactic in the beginning, trying to climb the structure and being the first. Of course, this doesn't work out in real life professional wrestling, and so they all stop each other and hit a few big moves on each other to get the action going and clear out the competition. Brookside is wasting no time, unleashing a series of thunderous clotheslines and hits Steels with a DDT. Giselle Shaw is making her presence known, delivering a relentless barrage of back elbows on Brookside. Jody Threat isn't holding back either, launching a massive lariat and following up with a big pump kick to Luna. Threat's on a rampage and whipping out German suplexes left and right. Luna eventually catches her and delivers a powerful fallaway slam, but Luna's not finished. She's whipping out exploder suplexes on everyone, followed by a dive onto Shaw to the outside. Brookside then joins in on the action and delivers a dive on her own. Threat's considering climbing the structure, but no, instead she takes a bold dive to the floor, wiping out everyone. Threat then goes for the climb eventually, but Alicia Edwards holds onto her back. I was genuinely scared here. She holds on for a while, but eventually gets sent to the floor by Threat in the safest way possible, thank God. Dani Luna asserts herself as the dominant force in the matchup, powerbombing two of her opponents out of the corner and finishing with a devastating powerbomb on Giselle Shaw. Brookside attempts to make her way across the X, but Dani Luna stops her with a crashing powerbomb. Edwards tries to scale the X as well, and is being smarter about it, but Luna is able to pull her down. Edwards, however, is able to turn the powerbomb attempt into a DDT, ending Luna's reign of dominance for now. Edwards introduces a Singapore cane to the match. I guess this is an ODQ as it's an Ultimate X, swinging away at everyone, but a lungblower by Shia Brookside turns the tide. After a barrage of action, Threat nails an impressive double DVD, carrying and throwing both Shia and Edwards at the same time. Holy crap. Luna and Shaw are locked in a fierce battle as Threat makes her way across the structure. Giselle Shaw, however, has other plans and is spearing Threat off of the cables in an awesome looking spot. Luna, Shaw, and Steels are all competing to get to the X at the center of the structure. Shaw swings the prop at her competitors, connecting with Luna and then Steels. They all fall down, allowing Giselle Shaw to pick up the victory. In my opinion, this was a great choice to open the pay-per-view. Solid action, paired with some really cool spots, with everyone working really hard to get the crowd excited for the rest of the show. They accomplished this goal despite one or two unclean spots, and had a really clever finish involving the X. Especially Shaw and Luna were able to shine during the match, setting up exciting possibilities for the future of the division. I'm giving this one a B grade. Dango got some heat before the match, saying,
"Man, do I hate TNA wrestling."
PCO was wheeled in on an operating table, which was a pretty cool visual. It's not long into the match until Alpha Bravo gets involved and the bout gets thrown out with a DQ finish. Rhino runs out to make the save and Santino Morello shows up. He's still the authority figure in the midst of this TNA rebrand. He orders for the match to be restarted as a 6-man tag team match featuring Jake Something as the equalizer. And just as the match starts, we're in the midst of an all-out brawl. PCO is scaling the heights of the turnbuckle and hits a moonsault to the outside. PCO is wasting no time and drills Dango with the D-animator. Now we've got Something tagging in, delivering a relentless series of short-arm clotheslines. Rhino finds himself then cut off, trapped in Team Dango's corner. Bravo takes the advantage, choking Rhino against the ropes as the momentum shifts towards the heels for a bit. But it's not too long until he's able to make the tag, and PCO hits the ring like a force of nature, connecting with a leg drop off the ropes. Rhino and Oleg Prudius are exchanging blows back and forth, neither are giving an inch. Rhino then takes him down with a shoulder block and is signaling for the gore, and I think just Prudius' bump here was awful. But Dango prevents Rhino from hitting the gore. Rhino responds by slamming him from the top rope, and once more, Rhino goes for the gore. Bravo becomes an unwitting shield, being shoved into the path of Rhino. Dango can't escape the faces though and pays the price for shoving his teammate as he gets powerbombed into oblivion. PCO seizes the moment, nailing a picture-perfect moonsault on Bravo and scoring the pin for his team. Honestly, I feel like this whole affair was horribly misplaced on this card. This would have been more suited for the pre-show or an episode of Impact. It felt like it was a waste of time, to be honest. It was solidly worked, a basic 6-man tag team match, but aside from a few interesting spots, it was mostly inconsequential and ultimately just a vehicle to have some people on the card. This didn't do anything for me, but it's hardly the performer's fault. I'm giving this one a C. MK Ultra defend their tag team titles in an impromptu match and get the returning Decay as surprise challengers. The crowd seemed to love it.
Oh my God!
Decay is asserting dominance early on, taking control of the ring. Rosemary is on fire, showcasing her power with some thunderous suplexes on Masha Slamovich. But then Killer Kelly strategically trips up Rosemary, turning the tide in favor of the champions. Masha rebounds, delivering a bone-crunching double foot stomp off the ropes for a close 2 count. Slamovich follows this up by slamming Kelly atop Rosemary for a near fall. Kelly returns the favor and slams Slamovich. The champions are working in tandem, double teaming Rosemary. Kelly's big kick to the face nearly secures the victory, but Rosemary kicks out in the last possible second. Havoc then enters the fray, cleaning house with a barrage of big clotheslines. Havoc goes for a double chokeslam, but the champions push her away. Quick thinking by Havoc, who escapes further attacks and retaliates with a thunderous double clothesline. MK Ultra foolishly attempt to double suplex her, but Havoc turns the tables, reversing the move. A leg drop on Masha follows, but Kelly dropkicks Havoc to break up the pinfall. Slamovich nails a scary-looking snowplow, but Havoc kicks out at 1, signaling an incredible amount of resilience. Kelly and Masha unleash a barrage of kicks, but Havoc retaliates by slamming them together. Havoc then is able to hit the double chokeslam, and the challengers seize the moment, double teaming Kelly and scoring the pinfall victory. Decay returning was a nice surprise here, but I'm even more surprised by the decisive title change in this impromptu matchup. Overall, I enjoyed the hard-hitting action, but I would have liked more for the champions to put up more of a fight, both teams going back and forth a little more, with a bit more time to let it develop and make MK Ultra look stronger in defeat. Alas, this match still gets a B. Before the match, Scott D'Amore and AAA owner Dorian Roldan come out and talk about their partnership, then end up signing a contract with a comically large font. We are in for a roller coaster of high-flying action and technical prowess. Kushida, Vikingo, and Sabin are tearing it up in the squared circle, starting things off with loads of spots involving all 3 men at the same time. Kushida sends both opponents over the ropes to the apron, then nails a lightning-quick handspring kick, sending them crashing to the floor, following it up with a breathtaking flip off of the apron targeting Sabin. Vikingo, showcasing his agility, hits a springboard Rana on Sabin and some crisp spin kicks. He follows it up by a mind-blowing inverted flip into a Hurricane Rana on Kushida. Vikingo goes for a submission on Kushida, but Sabin interrupts him from behind. Sabin then whips out some German suplexes and shows that he's the champion, apparently. We all know Sabin. Sabin misses a charge into the corner, but recovers with an STF. Kushida delivering a sharp dropkick. Vikingo meanwhile is caught in the hold and suffering the consequences. Kushida unleashes a barrage of hard blows, setting the stage for a hammerlock suplex. Kushida attempts to lock in the hoverboard once more on both opponents at the same time, then adds insult to injury with a monkey flip on Vikingo, sending him into Sabin with a head scissor. Vikingo hits a jaw-dropping moonsault to the floor on his opponents. This is followed by a missile dropkick from Vikingo, then one from Kushida, and a body press by Sabin. Sabin hits a Michinoku driver on Vikingo, but Kushida breaks up the pinfall just in the nick of time. Vikingo, displaying incredible strength, hits a torture rack into a GTS-style move on Sabin. A springboard 450 splash on the ring ramp follows. Kushida intervenes, kicking Vikingo's legs out from underneath his legs as he attempts to climb the ropes. Kushida locks in the hoverboard lock while on the top turnbuckle, then flips Vikingo into the ring, holding onto the submission, but Sabin kicks him to break the hold up. Kushida goes for the hoverboard lock again, but Vikingo, coming off the top rope with a stomp, breaks it up. They find themselves battling on the apron, and Sabin hits a Canadian destroyer on the ramp. Sabin follows this up with a massive back suplex off the top on Kushida, setting up for the cradle shock, but Kushida locks in the hoverboard lock once more. Sabin battles out of the hold, delivering the cradle shock and scores the pinfall victory. This was fast-paced, high-octane action calling back to the very best of TNA's past. They've had tons of creative 3-way spots instead of going the easy route of working a glorified singles match. They certainly made the most out of the stipulation and delivered a competitive, crisp, logical, and exciting bout that put over Sabin strongly as the face of the Signature X division. This one gets an A. I haven't seen anything from Hammerstone before, so I'm curious to see what the internet hype's all about. At the time of writing, Hammerstone is not yet signed to a TNA contract. Hammerstone asserts his power early, but Alexander uses his technical skills to counter every move. Hammerstone sends Alexander to the floor and nails a pescado to the outside. Hammerstone then cuts Alexander off with shoulder blocks and chops, preventing him from working the legs. But Alexander takes Hammerstone to the mat, focusing on the legs with a precise elbow to the knee. The action spills outside as Hammerstone goes for a fall-away slam, but Alexander lands on the apron. A well-timed kick is caught in the ropes, and Alexander retaliates with a gnarly slam on the apron that looked brutal. Back in the ring, Alexander targets Hammerstone's back, delivering a rolling senton and a knee off the top rope for a 2 count. Hammerstone finds himself trapped in the ankle lock. After a while, Hammerstone catches Alexander in a power slam press. A series of clotheslines follow, but a nagging knee issue becomes apparent for Hammerstone. Despite this, Hammerstone lands a power slam for a near fall. Hammerstone attempts the pendulum, but Alexander counters, locking in the ankle lock once more. The grapevine on the leg adds more pressure, and Hammerstone fights to reach the ropes. After a hard-fought struggle, he finally makes it. Hammerstone charges, but his knee gives out. Alexander seizes the opportunity, going for the C4 spike, but Hammerstone dodges and retaliates with the Nightmare Pendulum. A DVD on the apron by Hammerstone. Hammerstone then comes off the top with a massive missile dropkick followed by a TKO, but Alexander miraculously kicks out at the last second. They continue to exchange chops and strikes, and both fighters are refusing to back down. Hammerstone lands a incredible looking set-out powerbomb for another close 2 count. The battle rages on until Alexander nails the C4 spike out of nowhere, securing the hard-fought pinfall victory. I enjoyed this hard-hitting house fight, and overall I was impressed by Hammerstone's performance. I dig his explosiveness and his power game. I'm not so much of a fan of his cartoony selling, and he seemed a bit nervous at times. The match started a bit slow for my taste, but they told a nice story around their dynamic and built towards an exciting finish. This one still gets a B-, a solid bout. The action is non-stop from the get-go as all 8 competitors engage in back-and-forth sequences. The young veterans with their cunning teamwork target Bailey early on, but he fights back with a rapid-fire series of kicks. However, the vets pull off a blind tag, dazzling Bailey with lightning-quick dropkicks. Zach Gibson takes control, working over Bailey as the crowd rallies behind Speedball. The Rascalz tag in, Bailey manages to kick them off and tag in the explosive Laredo Kid, who unleashes a flurry of hot moves, turning the tide in the favor of their team. Wentz catches Laredo Kid in the corner, but the luchador counters by slamming him. ABC is then showcasing their double team mastery. They take control of the ring with their signature maneuvers. Austin gets caught on the ropes, twists his ankle, but manages to soldier on. Laredo and Bailey join forces, nailing a series of powerful kicks. grizzled young veterans execute a doomsday device on Wentz for a 2 count. Bailey adds to the spectacle with a massive moonsault to the floor. Bailey then nails a breathtaking reverse Rana off the top rope. He goes for the ultimate weapon on Drake, but the Rascalz break it up. Trey leaps over the top, delivering a spectacular Rana off the apron to the floor on Laredo Kid. He almost got caught in the ropes, but was super close from going wrong. Chaos ensues as the Rascalz double team the young veterans. The tension reaches its peak as ABC sees control, hitting the Art of Finesse, followed by the fold for the pin. This was another high-octane spotfest that just went full throttle at the beginning and just never stopped. It didn't feature much of a story, but it was a whole lot of entertainment, putting a huge shine on every single team involved. This bout gets a B. Grace catches Trinity and slams her down for a quick 2 count. A big right forearm follows, and Grace takes control in the corner with some punishing chops. Trinity with a breathtaking dive. Trinity faces a powerbomb, a knee to the face, and an inside-out powerbomb for a close 2 count. Trinity fires back with a flurry of strikes, but a well-timed clothesline from Grace takes her down. A juggernaut pump handle slam on the floor follows. They return to the ring, and Trinity retaliates with a series of knees to the chest. Grace and Trinity go toe-to-toe, exchanging slap and strikes. Trinity kicks Grace, who goes down to her knees. A split-legged moonsault follows for a close 2 count. Grace fires back with an elbow to the face and locks in a full Nelson. Trinity finds herself atop the ropes as Grace attempts a superplex. Trinity fights back with a headbutt and a well-placed kick. Grace, however, lands a spinning backfist and a thunderous muscle buster for another close 2 count. They grapple on the mat, with Grace temporarily trapped and starstruck. Grace escapes, but is met with a rear view for another close near fall. Trinity attempts to use the rope to drive Grace head into the mat, but Grace backdrops her over the apron. The battle then continues on the apron, with Trinity utilizing the ropes to drill Grace's face into the outside apron. Trinity locks in Starstruck, but Grace powers up. Trinity grabs the ropes, but is flung into a German suplex. Grace follows up with a spinning backfist and the Juggernaut driver for the pinfall and the title change. This match was notably structured different from the ones before it, starting out slower but feeling very grounded and well thought out. A solid, competitive match that kept building and building until it was ready to go home. This was easily Trinity's best title match so far. It's just a shame she's on her way out and had to give up the title. But in Grace, we have a deserving new champion that had been built for this moment since returning in September. Trinity also made her look super strong too. A good build, good match, a B+ grade for this one. Early on, Shelley strategically uses his technical expertise and forces Moose to resort to the ropes for relief. Shelley relentlessly targets Moose's arm, creating an early narrative that technical finesse might be the key to overcoming the powerhouse. Shelley follows this up with a knee to the shoulder, but out of nowhere, Moose counters with a thunderous dropkick. After some heated battles on the floor, Shelley regains control by stomping on Moose's injured arm on the apron. A kick to the head is followed by an attempted armbar, but Moose fights back, maneuvering himself on top of Shelley for a close 2 count. Shelley underturn snaps Moose's arm and locks in a variation of Kushida's hoverboard lock, but Moose fights back with punches, stomps, and goes for Shelley's hands and arms. A huge Shiranagi from Moose nearly seals the deal, but it's just a 2 count. Shelley counters with a spiked DDT into the canvas, and Shelley attacks with a shotgun dropkick. They battle on the outside, with Moose yanking Shelley from the apron, forcing him to crash down hard. Shelley avoids a move, shoves Moose into the ring post, and hits Shellshock on the floor. Shelley drills Moose with kicks and drives him face first into the turnbuckle, attempting a pinfall, but Moose defiantly kicks out. A Border City stretch attempt by Shelley is countered by a powerbomb from Moose, earning another close 2 count. Moose misses his spear, hurting his shoulder once more, as Shelley counters with a lariat. Sliced bread number 2 from Shelley is met with a kickout from Moose. The System then makes an appearance, but Kushida and Chris Sabin intervene, leading to a brawl to the back. D'Angelo Williams shows up and distracts Shelley, allowing Moose to launch an attack. Shelley avoids Moose and he crashes onto the ramp on the outside. They battle there, with Shelley slamming Moose's arm on the edge. Back in the ring, they exchange strikes and are chopping the hell out of each other. Moose headbutts Shelley, who retaliates with a big clothesline. Shelley nails a super kick but fails to hit Shellshock. Moose retaliates with a spear, covering Shelley for a surprise victory.
Could it be? Moose is the TNA World Champion!
This match followed the structure of the previous one, a big mistake in my opinion, and started out plenty slow, only building steam towards the halfway point. Thus, the crowd was a bit quiet at the beginning and really got into it towards the end and turned really hot. The later half was also really exciting. The finish was surprising to say the least, but I've heard rumors about Shelley needing some time off to heal some injuries, so there you go. It's definitely a weird end for Shelley's run, and most of his matches seem too similar, so that begs the question where he goes from here. Him turning heel was hinted at plenty of times, and maybe this is the catalyst for him finally to do it, I don't know. The match itself gets a B+. After the bout, the system comes out on the stage again to celebrate Moose's victory. I completely forgot to mention that this is a new stable that debuted during the pre-show and is very likely to dominate the forefront of programming in the coming weeks and perhaps months. Be that as it may, we don't have much to ponder on this as some music hits and the video screen shows Nick Nemeth's name. He's the big signing that was being hyped up before the show. This doesn't hype me as much personally, but he got a good reaction from the Las Vegas crowd.
Wait!
He sneaks into the ring and lays out Moose with a zigzag, then calmly leaves through the crowd again, posing in a section at ringside and ripping his shirt to reveal a TNA shirt underneath. Overall, I thought this was a great show, a strong start into a new era and a good foundation for some fresh storylines, while also standing mostly on its own since it didn't have much of a build to it, you know? I found it to be an odd choice to debut a new faction that would go on to feature in the main event during the pre-show, but at least they booked that faction to go over and make them seem like something of a threat. I'm neither surprised nor extremely hyped about Nick Nemeth, but I think he will be a good addition to the roster. I'm sure he'll bring the opportunity to book some fresh constellations and make for a good face of the company, chasing Moose or something along those lines. I would have liked the card to be organized a little bit better since the last two matches were too similar in structure and style, and it took the crowd out of it. Just switching one of the faster matches in between would have been a better choice in my opinion. I didn't care much for the 6-man tag team match either, but if you're dead set on having this match on the card, this would have been a better choice to put in between the two singles title bouts as well. All in all, I'm quite happy with this show. It is one of the stronger outings the company has produced, maybe even on par with last year's Bound for Glory. They had an awesome turnout, produced a fun event, and showcased an incredibly talented roster that deserves more recognition. I certainly hope that they can carry this momentum forward. Go check this show out, it's fun. That's it for this review. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Make sure to leave some comments or suggestions, or maybe check out one of my previous reviews if you haven't already. Take care, and goodbye.